remember that earlier this year, the IP for Super Dragon Ball Heroes was discontinued and set to be replaced by Dragon Ball Super Divers. As you can see here, it says announced on May, where it will replace Dragon Ball Heroes. Now, the thing to mention here is that Dragon Ball Heroes is discontinued, and Dragon Ball Super Divers doesn't necessarily exist yet in terms of like content, manga, because I know Toyotaro will be doing like a one-shot here, or having a manga that comes alongside the art. Like, again, I'm not too familiar with how all this stuff works, but the point I'm trying to make is that they don't have any content, which means that Dokkan, since we usually have this Dragon Ball Heroes collab every single November, because there's nothing to collab, I mean, technically, we could still get, you know, that blue static Gogeta, or, you know, any other Dragon Ball Hero characters we don't have yet that do exist in manga or anime form. I mean, is there a manga for Heroes? I know it's just anime. I don't know. The point I'm making though is that I don't think we're going to see a collab this year, unfortunately, for Dragon Ball Heroes. Again, it's discontinued, and the thing that's going to replace it doesn't really even exist yet. And on top of that, remember that even though these units come out in November, like late November, we get the information for at least some of the characters in October, specifically the 23rd, the 22nd, the 24th, as you can see here. Pan was announced. Pan and Robelu and a few other characters were announced October 24th of 2021. The year after that, Hearts himself was really teased, or whatever you want to call it, on the 23rd of October. So by this time, we usually already know some, or if not most, of who's releasing for the collab, and we know absolutely nothing. So in my opinion, this could serve as a opportunity for maybe Global Dokkan to, like, I mean, I would assume LR Jiren is dropping very, very soon. If it's not early November, then I would assume it's late November. Maybe that's an opportunity for Global to completely catch up on everything that we are lacking, and have that be the moment where the games are completely and utterly, like, you know, in every sense of the word, synced up. Hopefully they are that by the end of November. But I guess, you know, anything is like possible. This is a time of the month where they dedicate to this crossover. And actually, that's a great point too. What happens to the Dragon Ball Heroes category? I mean, whenever the Super Divers stuff, I'm thinking about this as I say it, but the Dragon Ball Super Divers stuff, like, whenever this releases, I would assume that Dokkan will continue to collab with it, right? Or whoever exists in Dragon Ball Super Divers will eventually maybe come over to Dokkan. Especially because it's not like it's its own thing. It's replacing Heroes, so it kind of holds the same weight, which I don't see why Dokkan wouldn't collab. But like, would Super Saiyan 3 Rose Goku Black exist in Divers? Like, would Limit Breaker Super Saiyan 4, like, I don't really know how this is going to work, but what do they do with the category? Do they just change the name to like Super Divers if that's the case? I mean, what you could also do is just get rid of the category altogether, because if we really think about it, this is just a worse version of the crossover category, because every character you see here is on crossover, but not every single crossover character is on here. Like, this is just a more niche, literally a more niche version of crossover. So getting rid of this category wouldn't really do the game like any harm. They would just have to go into the kits of some of these characters, where it mentions, you know, like, you have to be running other Dragon Ball Hero category characters on the team, right? And then just change that to crossover, and then I think you'd be good to go. For every other character who gets buffed, like, you know, God Trunks, or who supports, just change that to crossover or any other category that they have, and then I think, you know, you can just get away with that. And then crossover could just be the focus, and then whenever the one shot or manga or just the arcade game itself comes out for Super Divers, then we just get exclusive Super Diver stuff, collabs every, you know, November or whatever the case is. But all this to say, I don't expect in November, I do not expect a collab, because what are we collabing with? You know, look, there is technically stuff we still don't have from Heroes, right? I know we have like that Zamasu, like I guess I can pull up characters, but that one Zamasu character, like during like the whole, again, I didn't really watch the manga like that, but Grand Priest outfit Goku is also a thing, where he goes UI. We also have the blue static evolution Gogeta thing. I don't even know what that form is called, but it also exists out there. So could we get those characters in game? Maybe, but what would they call it? They're not going to call it Dragon Ball Heroes. It doesn't exist. I don't know. I don't really know how it all works, but if I think as like a safe bet, since Dragon Ball Heroes is it's like it's going to be discontinued. It is discontinued, I believe. And since there's nothing to replace it yet, I don't know what November would hold. But maybe I guess we could see collab with maybe something like another IP. Nothing Sparking Zero related, but maybe DAIMA, because remember DAIMA did come out earlier this month, and we do have DAIMA characters in the game, so maybe we get like a more fleshed out collab, like a continuation of what we got earlier in the month for November. I think that's probably more probable than expecting any DIVERS stuff, since it doesn't really exist yet, and since Heroes, or even expecting Heroes, because Heroes is again just discontinued. So I guess we'll have to see what they decide to do. But crossover, let me just pull up crossover just to show something really quick. Like, they can just get rid of the category, to be honest, because crossover is just literally just a better there's really no reason for Dragon Ball Heroes to exist, because again the game itself is just we don't need to be playing around. It doesn't need to exist. So let me know what you guys think. Hopefully you enjoyed. This is just all to say, again, don't expect anything. Wait, why isn't like, now that I think about it, why isn't DAIMA Goku and DAIMA Vegeta? Well, I guess am I forgetting something? Maybe I don't. Well, because I guess when characters come from GT, it's not a crossover into the games. I guess it's just like an anime. I don't know why I feel like that should be in crossover. That's a weird feeling. So maybe I don't know. Anyways, yeah, now that I think about it, it sounds silly, because like GT stuff isn't crossover, right? Super isn't crossover, so why would DAIMA be any different? There's something about DAIMA that makes it feel like it should be crossover, but it doesn't make sense. I don't know. Anyways, just a random thought. The point I'm trying to make is, don't expect anything in November, Heroes or DIVERS related. Probably DAIMA, I think, would be the better or just best expectation to go for, if anything, because we may not even get any collab or anything in November. But I guess we'll have to see what the future has to hold. Thank you for watching. I appreciate you. Merry Christmas and good night.